Here. Somebody tried to get them, Al Johnson, to stop putting goats on his roof.
Some attorney,
What does it matter to him?
he's gotta be frickin' smoking something. Thank goodness that the Supreme Court at least had some,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that are just absolutely insane.
Third. January 3rd, 2023. Yeah, you missed the good, what did we have the other night, the executive meeting?
What's that?
We had the executive meeting the other night. We
What?
talked about the safety building and the status of it, how they want to move forward.
I don't, Dan does not wanna revive that stuff.
He doesn't. And I keep telling him, why not? It doesn't cost you a thing. And we've got plenty of time. I mean, time is not of the essence right now. I mean, we know that we've got to give this some space and distance with the economy and with recovery. So let's take advantage of that. Bring that committee back and talk about a few more things. I know.
I think that if we would bring it back, 3, maybe 4 tops meetings.
Oh, absolutely. No, it wouldn't be that
We
many.
don't need the meetings like we had before.
No, it wouldn't be that many. But there's a couple things that we can chew on within that committee and bring it forward.
Honestly, I think that we need to look at, what we can afford.
Right. And break that project down.
That's where Paul would come into balance, you know, he can be there and he can, morning, Mary.
Hey, that works for me.
You know, Paul put some numbers together and said, you know, here's what it's gonna cost you. He's got that neat little program he sent us earlier.
Well, right, 'cause we have it for the full project.
No, we could change the numbers in there.
Right, he did it for the full project, and it's about, between the building and the operation cost, about $506 a year on a $250,000 home.
Yeah.
That's the take. So like I said, and then like Pat Olson said, he made a good point, but yeah, that's on top of the levy that I'm now paying for Luxembourg Castle. That's on top of a levy, that other communities did, whether it's the city of Kewaunee or whatever.
Well, he did, and Dan didn't get hit on his property taxes yet for that new school.
Right, that's gonna come next year.
That won't come until next year.
Right.
And then he's gonna be, ooh. Cause all the schools went through that.
We're not actually
That's all their
live,
money.
are we? We're not live, are we?
Huh?
We're not actually live.
We're not live yet.
Do they record? This is recorded, right?
Huh?
They record these though?
They're recording them, right? And then they'll put, I don't think we're live. I think they record them and then they put them on there.
Okay.
They had some problems like with some of these when they first started it,
Interesting times.
Yeah, I hope they're live.
You don't have to get up to Algoma much, do you?
We, we went and sent the truck this today. He had to, all he had to do was get to Algoma. What a cluster.
Yeah. I think what happened, because somebody told me that Brian Pupham was upset that nobody told him about the highway project. And what he did then was he had lined up Scots to reseal all those side roads. So like Longfellow 8, all those are being seal coated at the same time that they're shutting down 42. So that's the problem. So you could, I mean, it would have been nice if you just hopped on Lakeshore and shot up Longfellow or whatever. You can't do any of that. So you live like I was up there doing work after work last night at the job, and I sneak up Lakeshore. Then I had to cut over on 42 to East Alaska Lake Road, squirm it over to D, and then shot up D 54. And then on the way back, I took K out of the city because you could come down 42 to K, shot over to D, took D down to 42, 42 to Second, went past Mom's, and then shot down Lakeshore. So it's like, and every day it changes, right? Because they're being various projects along the way. So every day is going to be something up.
I told my husband that this morning. I said, boy, you're about to be retired when you do.
Oh, yeah. How did you come down to that?
I cheated. I get to the point I took D, I got to 42, and I just hit
Oh, you
stop.
see that? Okay. So are they letting people like go through number the Grove bit?
Yes, it's one lane.
Okay.
But when I say one lane, you're on
The shoulder.
the shoulder, way on the shoulder, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, I cut over. I came back from Algoma last night. I cut over on Second. I just found
Yeah.
Second Lakeshore all the way down. I could see all the lights flashing up ahead. I'm like, yeah, I think I want to cut it that way.
It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. Who the hell started this program?
Well, if you look at a county map, there's no good way to get from Kewaunee to Algoma. Once you shot 42
pulls
down.
off everything.
Huh?
Just force everybody to do this
Right.
right.
Yeah, everybody's kind of swerving around trying to find. Yeah, that's the problem is that, I mean, a vehicle, you can snake your way up this road or that road.
Yeah.
But as far as a form of vehicle, it's got to be on a county truck.
Yeah.
And so that's what sends them way the hell over to E because there's no county truck.
Yeah.
The first day I got really pissed because I wanted to get down here and do time cards, and I'm like, everything's closed. Well,
Jackie got stuck. She was behind the lady. That lady went right, head towards red, and Jackie went straight. And they both met up at like 8th and Longfellow, and they rolled down the window and said, "Are you trying to get to Algoma?" And they're like, "Yeah." So then she called. She's like, "Call my husband." She's like, "How do I get to Algoma?" I said, "Go north."
Keep going, head north on
Go
Longfellow.
to the and sit down the intersection. Going, how do I get there?
No, it's on the way down. It's easy. Like last night, I took Lakeshore, and I shot over. I was taking a bunch of roads here and there.
Yeah. When I first saw that detour, I thought, oh boy, this is gonna be a cluster because there's every town road out there. It doesn't run straight. It goes a mile or 2 miles, and then you got a T.
Right. Yeah, it'll be a good one. And the problem is leapfrogging. So it'd be one thing if you knew where it was and you knew how far you could take it. But each day they're going to a different location. So what's good today won't be good tomorrow, and what isn't good today might be good tomorrow. That's the hard part because they're kind of leapfrogging it up for you.
And it's frustrating because you like one day you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be so bad if the shooting park was open. Okay,
Right.
you could run right out. For us, we could run right out River Road, take E all the way up to 54, and we're done.
Down there. Oh, yeah, cut over there. Yeah, shit, I can't cut down the
Yeah, because then all the roads closed there because of high water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, so now I
I think
can't
I
go
could
there.
just to work to go back to that.
Thank you.
All right, what do you got?
The same thing, I just had the
Am I
wrong
supposed to
form.
read through this whole thing now?
No, we already read through it. I had you sign the other one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the old form, this is a new form,
This is new.
yeah, so,
So, old form?
yeah,
New
I'm
form.
just,
Doesn't look like there's any difference.
this is date form.
No,
Look at that.
not any form, actually. It's like me, it just needs time to get going in the morning. All right.
Okay, thank you. Hope that's not something I need for your.
Well, you've said that several times now.
I work for another county.
Well, signature for free.
No, we did that.
You feeling better, John?
I'm feeling much better.
She did it the last.
Oh, you got over that?
I stayed home yesterday and I emailed the medical center and I think there's a lot of people with the same thing. You're in air conditioning, you're out of air conditioning, you know, and your body just can't handle the heat.
I don't think you got over that COVID pretty quick.
Yeah. I don't know if
I shouldn't even.
I had a cold.
Hey, I got bounced there too. I got bounced out of an assisted living
Yeah,
center.
you were telling me that.
And then I came here that evening. And I
So
was
is there
98.
anything later, like maybe?
Really?
I guess I could push it and say 14.
Remarkable how quickly, I got,
Yeah.
from 103.5 down to 98.
Well, you know, the heat it does such a weird thing to a person's body.
So 5.
Well, yeah, I mean, those thermal, whatever.
Awesome, thank you, ma'am.
They aren't always that active.
They're not considered to be the most accurate in low.
Mine's been low.
Thank you.
One day I came in, my
Some of those, when they get a little like this, some of those that measure temperatures like that, it's like, boy, I sure do feel good for that, I think I'm supposed to be delirious at it, that's pretty good, but, yeah. For somebody that should be, maybe you want me to drive over to the funeral home myself, Oh.
You know, Tracy, you ever think that was more boring than reading that information you sent me?
Oh,
Is that freaking manual you gave me?
The one I just had Dan sign off on,
Yeah, well,
the emergency operation plan that I read every year
yeah,
for in my enjoyment.
yeah, if you call that enjoyment,
No, I don't.
I'll tell you,
And now I have to incorporate COVID-19 into it, as well as in 2 years, we have to incorporate some stuff FEMA made changes to. It'll be fun.
okay, Scott is running it.
Well, they take it seriously, they're like, it's, very, very, yeah, which is great,
I'll go for it.
Good, how about you?
Pretty doggone. Pretty doggone.
As long as it would, be nice and cool off a little bit, that's my only complaint.
I just can't take this heat.
And usually it's cooler down here, right? But with this wind coming out of the southwest and west,
Yeah, that's,
don't really,
when you go inland, it's even worse, yeah.
well, yep.
Joe,
Go here, you need another one. Joseph, how you doing?
yes.
You need to put in, get better markings so that we can find all the good routes to go through College After to avoid the 42.
It's just slow right now.
I'm gonna I'll put a special seal.
Oh, yeah. Do you know it's a big pickup in the traffic?
Only in the morning when I'm trying to wake up. Your truck's going by.
It shouldn't be that bad though the trucks are maybe going down here for the road. But this morning you couldn't get past double F.
I got to, yeah, right off
You
the side of
came
the road.
through coming south though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Going north, you wouldn't let us go through.
Really? I see one car go through. That's just one.
Thanks, Dave.
Like you should be fucking that.
They're brand new.
Are they gonna rename it?
Good morning.
Give it something.
Good.
That's kind of cool. That's exciting.
That's the name that sells, so.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
The only copy of that MOU and I paused when we go back in the book.
I didn't print it, I read it. I mean, that's
Right, that's here. They should have a copy of this, I.
Lawyer, I have
Oh, hey, I didn't write it. This is the MOU that's referenced, and this high cost design for that came over time. But did you pick up everything in your package?
I don't get it. The only thing I get is the agenda.
Oh, it does too.
Yes, I appreciate it.
You in a package of the high cost design report? It's a bit of the one system design report together, I think.
We're waiting for Doug and,
I don't know.
Did they ever send out the meeting minutes in the last one?
It was attached to
It went out.
the agenda.
Was it, I couldn't find it in there.
it was on
I did not send it myself.
a Word doc.
So, and that is just the MOU that we referenced in this design report.
In the last email?
I'll be short, one copy. But you guys can play it.
I didn't see it there. I saw the agenda, was it at the bottom of the agenda?
I didn't see it.
I was looking for them, I thought we would get a hard copy here.
The meeting minutes,
Yeah.
it wasn't in what you.
Debbie pulled one, they don't want.
Do you need copies made?
On the agenda.
Somebody got some copies
The
made?
only one I heard for sure was the guy.
Kid, you got a copy yet?
I just printed off one.
Why don't you take and run off, 5 more?
No busing is a question. I think so. I think so. If you wanted to think about digital busing. But after that, required, but that wasn't official. And there were a lot of unofficials when we were shooting. So you don't want to, I don't know how much weight you want to put on all that. Well, the problem is that finance has to be made now. And we'll have it look like in September. Will it look the same?
Scott's running late.
Good day to us.
President, we ended up in Kewaunee, when we looked
He got a smaller house.
what ended up in
Bar.
our homes.
Like a 2, 3 bedroom house, not real big. What would it cost to haul? Just
What you do is give me the square footage,
Wisconsin.
close as you can get it.
Lots of problems.
You need to know for sure. I'm sure you have to know.
notification about road buffing.
And then what is on that exterior? Is that brick on it? Or is it not?
Wooden bulb.
Wooden. Mhm. Is it long?
All balance.
You don't know that. But, you give me a square footage and tell me if it's a 1 or 2 story.
Well, maybe I'll tell them to call you. I know they called me and they wanted to burn it. I said, you can't.
No, don't
Yeah,
do
I
that.
heard that, and probably from a.
We've been through that.
Yes,
Exactly. I
I heard
said,
that.
not the word.
never met the guy.
I know what, they went to 3,000. The house is shot.
This guy from the county, the guy had- they did glasses, beard. He got everything in there. Breakfast place.
You're not the only one that's ever done that. Okay, we got 4 of us here. So. We'll call the meeting to. We live? Nope. Mary, you ready? 7:18. Call meeting order. Roll call, Doug is missing as of right now. We need a motion to approve the agenda, and I'm gonna get you a copy of the minutes here in a second. So if we could get a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, second by Joe. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? I'll give you a couple of minutes here just to go through the minutes. Thank you, Tracy. Any questions on that? If no questions, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the previous meeting.
The second,
I'll second.
second by Joe. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment, anybody want to speak? Dan, you're here, whatever you want. You're always pretty good at speaking, you know. Okay, Tracy, take it on.
Okay, everyone got a copy of our budget. There really is not too much to go over. Did anyone have any questions? All right, because otherwise everything's pretty much on schedule with our budget.
I don't see anything sticking out, you know. NIMS,
Women's compliancy, so I just sent out an email Monday to county employees as well as elected officials, if they so choose to take the ICS 100 and NIM 700 online. Those links are included in the email. There is no need for those that have taken it before to do a refresh. The importance behind NIMS compliancy is, again, the county board signed a number of years ago that they'd be NIMS compliant, as well as many townships did as well. So every year I just try to reach out to get those courses out to everybody. And this helps in the event of a FEMA declaration, in the event that they look for that compliancy for that entity that is looking for reimbursement.
okay. You're just doing online right now?
Correct.
Okay. And that's, which one, I know that I've got, what, is it 100?
You've got the 700 done.
I got 700. But I don't know how many of our committee members are aware of it, but there's 2 tests you can have to take through FEMA if you want to get FEMA compliant.
Okay.
All right, and they're very interesting as far as I'm concerned. They're almost as interesting as taking reading the manual that you gave me. It is. I've got it. I wish they'd have more pictures.
I do have that manual with me if you'd like.
No, I've got one too. All right, upcoming training exercises, household hazardous waste event.
So, just recently, I have scheduled a tornado communication drill for county employees. I hate that echo that's going on right now, but in April, We used to have an annual tornado drill. We did not hold that this year due to COVID-19. So we're just going to do a communication drill that's just to make sure that everyone that works in the county buildings receives a text message in the event of a severe weather. So one part I'm not doing is usually dispatch will notify all the offices of severe weather. We know that that is functioning because in late June, due to I think it was thunderstorm watch or warning, they did notify all the employees. Also working on trying to do a reception center type drill in August with our first responders in regards to our nuclear exercises that we hold. One reason for doing that is the Luxembourg Casco Intermediate School has seen a lot of reconstruction with the outside, and that is where some of our responders set up to meet traffic as they come in. So we're just going to hold just a small drill, coordinating that with the school system there. And then our clean sweep has been rescheduled for Wednesday, August 26th. It's going to be at the highway hillside shop. Wednesday is it's the first time we're holding it on a Wednesday. It had been scheduled for earlier this year on a Saturday, but due to a lot of spring clean sweep events being rescheduled, and fall was already taken up by those that have been prior scheduled, just trying to fit in where we can. So we'll get some information out to the public when we're holding it.
Question on that, is that for pharmaceuticals and hazardous chemicals or just hazardous chemicals?
It's also hazardous chemicals, it is agricultural, and it's the pharmaceutical. Yes, and then just so you know, and it's dry pharmaceuticals. That stuff can also be dropped off at the sheriff's department 24/7. They don't have to wait for the clean sweep for that. Any other questions?
Sirens.
So, still working on finding out who has ownership of 5 of the sirens here in Kewaunee County. I just recently sent a letter to a gentleman I'm working with. His name is Jeff. He works for WPS. And just to try to find out, again, who has ownership of 5 of the sirens here in the county. The background behind that is Kewaunee County has 18 sirens. 13 of those were the Kewaunee Power Station emergency planning zone sirens. When Kewaunee Power Station decommissioned, they didn't have to maintain the sirens anymore. But 8 of those sirens were in the are in the Point Beach emergency planning zone. So Point Beach bought some sirens. There's a discussion which ones exactly they own. Point Beach owns 8 of them, but we don't know who has ownership of these other 5. I always thought Point Beach had them. Point Beach always thought Kewaunee County had them. So I have tried contacting WPS to find out who pays electricity at these sites. Nobody's receiving a bill from these sites. To see where that goes. I have not heard back from my new letter.
Tracy,
Yes.
I did contact
two
Siren
in our town landowner.
Yep.
And he said
And
no one
one
has approached them,
at
bothered them, or anything. So,
And-
that's some background on that.
And that's good to know because I was also trying to find out did they go to a landowner, and Point Beach said that, and even though they would not have been the ones to do it, they said no, nuclear plant would have changed those sirens just to an individual homeowner. They would reach out most likely to the municipality. And you have to in the municipality, you've got no knowledge of anyone calling to you. So
Does the landowner get some money for a lease on that land?
I
I
didn't ask. I
I
don't think so.
You would think they
They
would.
would, but yeah.
right on,
Right on the
the
edge of the road, you know.
just out of the road.
Is it in the county right away?
One
It
is
is on
on Highway
29,
29,
one
one is
is
on
on,
80,
so
so if it's
100
100
foot
right
right,
away, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The one
Highway,
on 29,
right.
is that the one on the south on 29?
Yeah,
East Town Line Road, just a little bit
bit
west.
Yeah.
Wrong side.
one of the reasons we're trying to find out who owns these 5 sirens is in the event that they're not working properly, who do you reach out to get it repaired? It's not a county responsibility to repair any of the sirens in Kewaunee County. We don't own any of them. And then the other reason behind it is, which will be coming up, Point Beach is hoping to have IPAWS, which is the Integrated Public Alert Warning System, become primary to notify residents of a nuclear incident, and it can be used for other notifications as well. If that can become primary, that NRC or FEMA approve that, from my understanding, Point Beach is hoping then to have all the sirens that they maintain given to municipalities. So the municipalities probably don't want to do that. So again, there's 5 sirens that no one would take care of. So
Flooding,
still the same as it would have has been. It's been raining a little bit, but the high water levels have not gone down in the city of Kewaunee. So I really don't have anything on it.
want to touch on COVID-19?
Our office had been doing daily mortuary survey reports. That has gone down to 3 times a week. And that just involves me reaching out to the funeral homes on the corner and find out how many deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours or since the last report, and then whether or not any have been COVID-19 positive, and I report that information to the state. I also monitor their personal protective equipment, see how they're doing on that, if they're in need of anything. The other thing that our office has been doing is distribution. So we reach out to all the emergency responders to see if they need any PPE, as well as the nursing homes, CVRFs, dentists, stuff like that. And that had been done every 2 weeks. We just recently went to once a month, reaching out to do that. At this point in time, Kewaunee County will continue to reach out to these entities for if they need it, that they're not able to purchase it on their own due to back order or it not being produced. And we'll be there in the event of an outbreak.
Okay. Your next one.
So I just want to brief everybody on this alert and notification for the Integrated Public Alert Warning System design report being put forth by Point Beach. So this again is something that Point Beach is working on. I know all of you read it. So it's just a lot of verbiage put in there by Point Beach to make sure they're complying with what the NRC and what FEMA is recommending you put in there. They've had some things change. They used to reference something called Rave Alert. Kewaunee County does use Rave Alert. Manitowoc County uses Rave Alert. They did not want the specific vendor listed in here. In the event you switch vendors, you don't need to change up the design report. This has, so currently Manitowoc County can notify Kewaunee County residents in the event of a nuclear incident using IPAWS. That is put in the design report. And like I said, the reason for Point Beach wanting this to become primary is they have to prove to NRC and FEMA if something happens, they can notify the public. Maintaining sirens is very cumbersome. You don't always know if it will work when you need it to. So making this primary will do some financial relief for Point Beach by them not having to maintain the sirens to the extent that they have been. And if FEMA and FEMA and NRC approve this design report, then they're going to be looking at getting rid of siren ownership. Does anyone have any questions about the design report? Again, I did not work on it. This is not my report. This is Point Beach's report. They are just looking for my signature to get added to it. Currently, Point Beach VP has signed off on it. Manitowoc County Emergency Management has signed off on it. They are looking to get Wisconsin Emergency Management signature. And I think that's it. Maybe someone from FEMA has to sign it also.
Tracy,
Tracy,
I thought I read in here somewhere that, is there gonna be another NIMS program like the county board chair and some people have to take? Or
That would not have been, oh, that's the IS 247.
something, I read it in here, I don't remember the numbers, but.
So for anyone that has IPAWS authority, so Kewaunee County does not have IPAWS authority. We do not have IPAWS here in Kewaunee County. In order to use IPAWS, any individual that uses it has to take the IS 247 class. So that is a stipulation for any IPAWS authority.
It's chart here, I thought then people had to take it, but maybe I was mistaken.
He was just showing what pages that were nominated. He was just looking for the organization chart of each county.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question. So this is in supplement of the sirens. This would supplement and replace the siren for notifications, but our rave, that would still be intact for Kewaunee County. We're not looking at iPause to replace rave.
Correct.
Okay.
Matter of fact, IPAWS for Manitowoc County is through their rate system.
Okay.
So it's just another add-on, and you have to pay for that.
Okay.
We would use rate for notifications. IPAWS is not meant for general notifications.
Right.
It is only for, or just like the other night, you all got an Amber Alert. Even though we cannot get an Amber Alert from IPAWS locally, that is the same type of system.
Okay. Thank you.
And also with them being able to use IPAWS as primary, that helps with those that are out on the water. We got tourists that come in, you know, you're getting everybody that is in that area to notify them.
Because basically it doesn't require, like with Rave or when you code red, it doesn't require people to subscribe into it. It's capturing everybody. Right. So,
and then with the sirens, not everybody pays attention when they go off. They don't go inside and find out what's going on. IPAWS, hopefully when they hear their phone go off, they're gonna check it and see what's going on. Again, we always get to check on our neighbors, make sure everyone knows what's going on. It also references the MOU and this design report. Something I signed back in 2018, giving Manitowoc County permission to again sound IPAWS in Kewaunee County for a nuclear incident.
That's one that had Dan sign it.
No, Dan didn't have to sign any of this. Does anyone have any questions about it?
So does this committee have to take any action on that?
No, I just wanted to make you aware. Well, I guess
We really don't, because we don't author it.
right.
Okay, the author of that report is Point Beach.
Correct.
Okay, they're just telling us what they're gonna do.
Are we under any financial obligation to, once they put this in place?
No, we're not. So, and I did have a bunch of those questions. So if Manitowoc, like right now, they, again, sound IPAWS for us if we need it. They don't charge us anything for it. If they should say we want money for it, well, then we would bill Point Beach for that. Or Manitowoc would bill Point Beach for that. It also does not say that Kewaunee County cannot at some point decide to become IPAWS authority as well. By approving this report, some of those little things can then just be changed. It doesn't have to go through NRC or FEMA for approval for any small changes.
More or less, so for the informational, you know, it's there if you want us to, somebody asks you a question. Give us 30 pages and say, let's take the gander.
Yep.
Okay, anything else, Tracy?
Not on that. I'll just sign it and get that signature back to them.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is I'm working on a backup road alerting with Lieutenant Baser. It's not an MOU. I don't know how I put that in there. But again, with this IPAWS being put into place, we want to make sure that in the event for some odd reason IPAWS doesn't work, Manitowoc can't sound it. They do have a backup that can reach out to the state of Wisconsin can sound it for Manitowoc and Kewaunee County. But for some reason that doesn't work, we would have to have law enforcement go out and do notifications to the public to notify them that something's going on. So with that, we have to update the backup road alerting plan on that. It's a work in action.
All right. Yeah, you're up.
All right, we'll start with review of 2020 budget to date. Just like in Tracy's, really nothing standing out other than you'll see some of the bills on the jail side, household and janitorial, laundry. You can imagine a lot of that is related to COVID. We have indicated on every one of those invoices when you send those up. We always indicate COVID on it, and therefore we can utilize that funding that was spoken of. I think in a previous meeting talked about the amount of resources the state has sent back to the local communities to cover some of these COVID costs. So you'll notice in a couple of these small items, even some office equipment, where we're riding a little bit high, but a lot of those are different things we've had to purchase in relation to COVID-19. So all those receipts have been indicated and marked, and we'll be getting reimbursement for it. Probably the only other one would be recruitment. We've got two, we'll talk about in staffing, that we've got two new hires that we've got currently going through the training. We're at just over 50%, so which isn't at this point alarming, but again, with the proposal or with the presumed retirement coming up later this year, that's going to create a sort of a cascading of vacancies as we fill that position and the subsequent position. So we'll keep our eye on recruiting. Or what did I say? Because most of those going to be internal, it shouldn't be that big of a hit on the budget. Versus when you have to bring somebody from the outside, that's where you have a lot of these costs because of psych evaluations, medical evaluations, site hearing and everything. So just something to keep in mind. But other than that, as far as the 2020, we're tracking pretty good. Overtime, I will turn that over to Chief Deputy Cornelius.
Good morning, everyone. I handed out a package of 4 pages stapled together, and the first page is 2020 overtime summary, and the date on it is July 7th, so I printed that off, I believe, yesterday. And if you look at the following pages, 2010, and 2000, I want to give you a historical value of where we're at with overtime. If we can turn to the last page, which would be the 2000 overtime summary, if you can look at the open shifts, how many hours of overtime they were paying at that point, 2,300, almost 2,400 hours. And then training costs were paying 1,290 hours. That's for the whole year again. And then transportation costs, 766 dollars. If you go to the next page, moving up to 2010, again, that's a year in review. 10 years later, we cut it in half. Open shifts, 1,000. Training costs, 137 hours. And transportation down to 57 hours. You go to 2019, open shifts, 475, training costs, and the items I touched base on, transportation is at 80. And then year to date, where we're at today, open shifts, 78 hours, training 155, transportation 27 hours. So we've come a long way with overtime. And I just want to give you a historical value of where we're at currently. And again, the big kick on this is the COVID schedule that the lieutenants put together and really fine tune, making sure that we weren't spending a lot of overtime costs on several events. So again, we're pretty good at this and we'll reflect on the budget coming into 2021.
Okay. Derek, you
Just to give you an idea.
did you have a question?
No,
Dave, back in 2000, you had a lot of training expenses and such. Was there a reason that you had more training expenses back then than say you would do now?
We were going through a lot of hiring at that point, but also we streamlined our training. We took it internally instead of sending officers to Green Bay, Appleton, and so forth. We trained officers in EVOC, our basic training for driving, GAD, defensive tactics, and shooting for instructors, firearm instructors. So again, we used to go to the range and stand around for 4 hours. Now we train on duty with our officers, with only the trainers maybe being on overtime at that point. So we'll summons 2 officers at a time, train up with the officer, our instructors, and that's how we streamline a lot of this. So it's internal CPR. We used to have to beg people to come in and CPR for the sheriff's department. We trained 3 officers to become CPR instructors. Now we do it on duty. So overtime is cut there also.
Okay.
So through the years, that's what we've done.
I noticed that transportation, back then was a lot, were we sending more people out at that time?
Transports,
Yeah,
at that time, we had a contract with Brown County Sheriff's Department, and we were constantly driving back and forth. Instead of housing our inmates here, we're taking them to Brown County. And again, in the early 2000s, we ended that contract for $250,000 a year for 10 beds, if we use them or not, which is a huge impact also. But again, yeah, we transported everybody everywhere. So,
As well as the advent of technology, I mean, we didn't have the choice of video conferencing for initial appearances or anything. So now when we can, we definitely use the technology to keep them, stationary and do what we need to rather than picking them up for a 45, sometimes a 15, 20-minute hearing, you'd have to run them somewhere just to bring it back again. So technology's helped us in that as well.
any other questions today? All right. Update on the facility improvement, yeah.
All right, I think everybody is pretty much aware of the presentation that was done recently by Mr. Kane. Kind of gave you a rundown on the closure of phase 2 or completion of phase 2, and kind of at a point where, where do we go moving forward? We know that phase 2 is complete. Are we moving forward with phase 3? Are we going to be doing some more preliminary studies as far as the recommendation that came forward from the subcommittee? There's been conversation about we even reconvene the subcommittee. So, I guess just kind of getting your feedback, your input. We're kind of just at a point where, there we are. What do we know? We know that phase 2 is completed. We know that there's a recommendation out of the committee in regards to option 7. And beyond that, I guess we're going to be looking for some guidance from the board, from the committee. Where do we go from here? A lot has changed since we completed phase 2. Phase 2 completed back in March, early March. That was kind of the last meeting of our subcommittee where we made a recommendation, and then of course the world went into lockdown. So I think it's a good time to kind of circle around and say, okay, where do we go from here? Given all the changes that we've had locally, nationally. Where do we go from here? How are we going to move this project forward? To what extent? In what form? What does it look like? So basically, it's just a matter of conversation. There's no action to be taken necessarily, on this agenda. It's just a matter of getting some feedback, I guess. We have Chair Olson here, so to see where are we going from here.
Okay. Any questions from that?
I think the big roadblock right now is
the cost of phase 3 is even to be about 270,000.
Right, if we base it on the full 35 million, option 7. So I think that's, do we look at option 7 now? And one of the last things that was done in committee of that subcommittee was, and the question came up, I don't know if it was Mr. Dorner or if it was Mr. Baker, but somebody had said, can we look at option 7 and the options within option 7? As far as, what we absolutely need to tackle in 2020, the here and now, and what could we possibly throw a vision out there to say what could we phase in. That was part of that. So I think it's sort of to me, it's sort of an unfinished conversation. There were some really good questions that were asked, as well as the fiscal impact. What does that mean to the average $100,000 or $200,000 property owner? What does that mean, both from a capital perspective as well as from an operational cost? What does that mean? And a lot of that was asked, and so we're kind of at a point where I think it's incumbent on us to bring that group back, because we had a lot of questions, and if we don't reconvene the committee, then those people are just left to kind of walk away from it. And so we do have some great citizen input and citizen contribution, and they're the ones that ask the question. Hey, we have a little bit more we want to chew on, and so I think it'd be somewhat of a disservice to them to just say, hey, thanks for your time, but we got this now. I think we owe it to them to say, hey, you had a couple more questions, we had a few more points of discussion. Let's go ahead and come back together and try to fine tune some of this. And to Scott's point, what would that mean then? So yeah, we know what it means at 35 million, but what would that mean if we just did the jail and the support services associated with the jail? What would that mean if we had the sheriff's administration? What would that mean with police garage? So there's parts, there's components within the components, and I think there's value into completing that conversation. That's where I put it, because everything I have in emails and requests, they all stop in March. And I think we really should at least bring that back. And the nice part is it does cost me money, right? That's free. We can all sit in a room, it doesn't cost any money. And really with where we are as a community and a country, time is not of the essence. There is no way that we're going to try to speed this down the track, given where we are in the economy. So I think we've got some opportunities. And again, to reconvene that committee, it's no cost to anybody, but it's going to give us some really good clarity to then bring back to the executive committee or back to the county board. But I think that's a good group to flush out some of the clarity so that we can bring forth one message or one vision. So that's just my input, I guess.
John? Couple of things I would just comment on is, one thing is, yeah,
the committee doesn't cost any money, but going to phase three, there seems to be some debate on the exact figure. And
I've asked other people about that.
but there is no question that it's a large figure. I mean,
mean,
it is,
And so to expend that amount of taxpayer money, if we aren't sure that there's some sort of consensus or agreement that this is the way to go, that's a big question I have. And, and of course, I suppose that this would be something that could be, would shake out through the committee, you continuing its work, but, at the executive committee, as I pointed out, there were definitely contradictions. And I mean, I think you're right, but, as I pointed out, in the conversation, we were seeing it with one position was that we can't do parts of it, you recall. You can't just build a jail, that's not the garage, because you have to salary for all those things. So if you remember, there were contradictions there. I think you're probably correct, and those are things that certainly need to be shaken out. The bigger issue, the bigger question that I have, and I would appreciate some direction from this committee, part of why I came here this morning, that and Tracy told me I have to. So I adjusted things to be here, but I appreciate that the study committee has said option 7 is the one, and that's what was presented at the last board meeting. But the full board hasn't been brought into that conversation. And I think that before we go further, my thinking would be that this needs to go before the full board. And I think that the full board of supervisors needs to indicate, yes, option 7 is the option. So, I mean, that's kind of what my concern is that I have the impression that the board just got this, the last meeting. And there seems to be a lot of discussion,
a lot of questions about, is option 7 where we're at? Make sense? Okay. Yes.
See, I'd like to have the opportunity to find you, or at least understand option 7 and what, because I know that the previous chairman had asked for a breakdown of those costs, and I had it in an email. I don't think we talked that night, I'm sure. The other thing was to talk about how we would ever fund this, what mechanisms would we use to put it to the public, and it's not just the borrowing the money for the jail, it's the ongoing cost of that staffing. Those are big hits that we have to figure out, is it even worth spending the $270,000 if we don't believe it's palatable to the
as I stated, I don't, and that's a big part of my hesitancy here is I don't see how we can spend that amount of taxpayer. I mean, and I know there's data the exact amount of the figure, but it's a big number. You're talking $250,000, and if don't feel that there's agreement among the supervisors and that we're going to be able to get a project that has a reasonable chance at referendum. I mean, $250,000 an awful lot with the county. So that's kind of, I really would like, I want to have a pretty good degree of confidence before we go forward with it. So that's why, I'm not trying to just hold things up, but I do think that this should be discussion by the full board at their next meeting to get a little more input and direction. I have no problem with this committee, being reappointed and convening, provided
the full board feels, yes, option 7 is what we should be working on. Does that make sense? Is that amenable to this committee?
Do you think, is it something that you would want to have focus and say, this meeting will be specifically on this topic? Because I know sometimes it gets, really buried with all the different issues that come before you, and then, item number, 7B, parent 5 is the jail, and then by that time, people are like, man, I gotta get out of here. And then it really doesn't do justice.
I would think, Sheriff, if there's anything you've learned since I became the chair, is that I have no problems with everyone meeting.
I know you don't, but I know that some people in any meeting, we start to get beyond that 60-minute,
I know.
period, and eyeballs start to roll back, and then is the conversation.
I understand.
A good conversation.
I
If we're gonna do it, I would say, let's set aside a meeting to say, this is what we're doing now.
Sure.
You know what my comment has been, be it either way. Yes, sir.
My concern is that we are jamming together both the cost and the design of the jail and the staffing and all that with how we're gonna fund it, and I think those are two, and clearly the committee spent all this time on the design of the jail and choices we have, and no discussion about costs, and it's almost like those are two separate committees or two separate, points of discussion, and I don't know how you can conflate the two and say, we're both gonna talk about accepting this design plus the cost, I think I think they should be dealt with separately, so we can chew on each one without getting messed up with the other.
So would you agree that the 4B, going forward, it should come to the full board for discussion, find out, to have some sort of consensus, or at least find out if there is a majority that says, yes, option 7 clearly needs to be worked.
I agree.
that, yeah, if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you better have people in agreement that it's worth going forward.
Because I had hoped that I had hoped that I was gonna come up there with certain players, Supervisor County asked. I came up there.
Yeah, more questions. And I don't think it, what it is the amount of changes we've seen. I mean, I can tell you that as an individual, just from my perspective, I had a different outlook on this in February, March, saying, okay, we've got to do this in totality, and you all heard my comments throughout the years, really. And coming out of what we're coming out of, I, for one, at least, said, we got to crack this another way, because this community is hurting financially, they're struggling. So, but we also can't not do anything. Standing still is not an option. So we've got to find that balance, because just walking away from it really isn't an option. I mean, we can probably hold our own here. We've had this discussion that, we're doing all right, we're not in violations, there's been no lawsuits. We've got a damn good staff that's holding down the fort over there. That being said, we do have to set a trajectory to continue to move this down the path. That's why I don't know that it needs to be all or nothing. We can look at saying, what is here now, what we have to tackle here now, and then set a vision for the future to say, once we slowly build as a community, we can look at this and that. So I think there's different ways. Whatever it takes to continue to keep this on the trajectory. Just standing still is not an option.
So you would be comfortable with, having this come before the full board for discussion of the full board, before we, and then kind of get a little more direction, from there as to how to proceed. Yes, sir.
How can we, talk about the cost of this without taking into account this request for another $18 million for a county shop? It really feels like we have to look at both of those.
I was not going to, I was just not going to say anything about that. I guess we don't have the jail project, we don't have that completed yet. Now we have the highway
standing in line with the $18 million request.
So, my position on that is that the sheriff department was in line first. So when we formed the line for $3 bills, the sheriff department was first in line.
Can we ignore the shop for another decade?
Not for another decade.
So that's.
Well, it's just like the jail, we can't ignore the jail.
But do we have to balance the two? Do we have to jail the jail down a little bit in order?
This jail project has become much more consuming than I had
even
been
begun
fun.
to
We've had
imagine, you know, you want
to
to take
take
on
on
the chef too at the same time.
I don't, but I wanna at least keep that in mind when we're talking
I
about
agree.
spending $37
I agree.
million.
We
We
have
have
to,
to,
we
we
have
have
to
to
keep
keep
it in
in
mind.
mind,
It
it
has
has
to
to
be
be
in
in
the
the back.
background, but I
I
do
do
think
think
that the
the
jail
jail
is
is
pretty,
pretty,
is a
is
pretty
pretty
pressing
pressing
thing.
thing.
It's not
Not
my
my intent to
stop
stop
it.
it,
I want
to
to bring
bring
this
this
forward,
forward,
and
and
ultimately, I
I
want
want
to get
this
referendum,
referendum.
and ultimately
Ultimately,
my
my
position
position
has
is
been,
that
this is
this is
gonna
going
be
to be
decided
decided
by
by
the
the
taxpayer,
taxpayer,
county,
county,
this is gonna go
go
to
to
referendum.
referendum.
And
And
so,
so
that's
that's
why
why
we
we
have
have
to
to
kind of
come up,
we
we
have to
have to
have a
have a
pretty
pretty
good,
good,
pretty
pretty
clear
clear
path
path
before
before
we
we
go
go
forward.
forward.
But
But
I
I
agree,
agree,
you
and
can't ignore the
for the
reality of the job.
job,
But I
but I
will
will
tell
tell
you,
you,
I think there's a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of
discussion,
discussion, disagreement,
um, and
and
kind
kind
of
of
putting back
back
and
and
forth
forth
on the
on
jail.
jail.
You
You
just
just
throw
throw
out
out
the
the
county
county
shop
shop
sometime with a
with a
diverse
diverse
group
group
of
of
people in the
people,
county. And,
and
you
you
know,
know,
when
when
you
you
do
do
that,
that,
keep
keep
your
your
head
head
low.
low.
Just a quick comment. I was a part of that committee for the jail safety for many years. We've been looking at this. I would fully recommend to go back to this committee one more time to meet as a body and charge them with the task of coming forward with a recommendation to take to the executive committee or whatever committee and have a report saying this is the direction we believe this committee studied and how we should move it forward. And at that point, it goes back to that committee, the executive committee, and they can take it from there if they're comfortable. If you don't sunset that committee, I feel those people sitting on there have put so much time and effort, and then not have them come together one more time to at least have a closure to that committee, I think it'd be an injustice to that committee.
I think there's some clarity, because you brought up the idea of the Sally Port versus Peak Rocks, two completely different animals. And so when the comment was made at the previous meeting, that we have to do Sally Port, as long as we're doing Sally Port, then we need to do this 20-some thousand dollar fee. Two very different animals. All the Sally Port is, you can leave it at any facility. It's a very small component of the jail. So it's a support component of the jail. We're able to bring 8 squads in for that transition. It's not the complete garage. And so I think again, back to the committee, because I was surprised that there was a lot of kind of, I know, Supervisor Cole was like, wait a second, you're saying this and you're saying that. So even as that subcommittee, we gotta kind of, I think, circle the wagons one more time, and say, hey, you know what? We gotta get clarity, because if we're not on the same page, how can we possibly bring this in front of the full board? Then it's gonna splinter about 500 different degrees.
I agree,
I agree with you that
but
I do think,
think
there's,
there's,
I think it's just a lack of clarity. I do think there is a lot of room within that option set. And I do think that there is a lot of room. I do also think, as I've said previously, and I don't want to repeat myself too many times, I do think before we go to that, I think that there needs to be a discussion by the full board, and I think that there needs to be some consensus that, okay, well, yes, let's see the work done within that option 7. I think that's probably where board members are at, maybe, but I think that we should take that, I think that we should take that step first and have that conversation.
I think that, the committee should maybe get together just to see what, I don't wanna mean bare bones, but what is actually needed right now, because the state could shut us down. And, not to be cheap either, do it right, and just find out what is actually, right now needed. And then, if we do go at step 3, that, we would have an actual dollar amount instead of 207,000, because if we present to them what we actually need to get that phase 3 going, that, that's one of my points. And then also, if we do have a county meeting, all together, we need to know what that means to individual taxpayers for 100,000 or whatever. And, we're in a bad spot in Kewaunee. We have 70% aid. So the houses take the brunt of the tax, if it stays there. So we're not where the other counties at. So I think that those 2 points are probably things for a county meeting.
So you're in support of taking this before the full board, having that conversation. And then there's not going to be unanimity, but if there's some consensus, we would then, send it to them committee. I mean, reform that committee and send it back.
Or have the committee meet one time, you know, say, this is actually what we need. You know, because we're gonna have to talk about the next phase and the dollar amount that's gonna cost. Because it's, you know, nuts and bolts or, you know, design.
Right.
That's just my thought.
I had the feeling in the committee that we had narrowed in on a greenfield site, but I was a little surprised at how definitive we were, and this is what we're gonna do. And when we launch into doing the next phase, it's gonna be off that strip. There's not gonna be a whole lot of movement. And I think we still need to, do what the sheriff said, is to debate what is the absolute minimum we can do in a quality way that meets our needs for the next 10 years or something, you know, and pare it down and try to be as responsible as we can. But my concern is that the way it was presented by Mr. Kewaunee, it felt like that's what we're being asked to vote on. It's that or nothing else.
I'm not sure that this is being sold as well as it could. That is part of the problem. I mean, I understand Mr. Kane wants to, you know, provide us with a lot of information, but I think that presenting that in that manner kind of, that raised some eyebrows. You know, people are just like, oh my gosh, you know, $35 million project, and kind of the impression that this is what we're, you know, is going to be brought forward. That was not the best sales job, but I do think, and I think you're in agreement with me. We need to make sure, I think that we need to make sure that a majority of the board feels, number one, understands there's movement within this option 7. This is not 35 million or another option. There's a lot of movement in there. I think we need to understand that first of all. And second, I think we need to make sure that this is, that the majority of them feel that they are the ones who are, you know, choosing the option or in favor of this option. I think we're going to be in trouble if we if we go the committee route first. Knowing the way people work, I think we could. I think we could hurt. I think we could hurt this project. Make sense? Okay. And the committee, obviously, we looked at the committee, and I was trying to streamline all committees. I did not streamline this one as much, but and you know, admittedly, I apparently did not go about this very well. And you know, contacting everybody that was on there and so forth. Are we comfortable with the committee as it was proposed? Okay. All right. Well, that's extremely helpful for me. We've had this conversation a few nights back, but
I just want to make a comment on, I thought that the community that we have is a really good thing. I mean, I said a lot of committees, but very good community. They have good intentions for one home. And to me, I think that the community should meet back together one last time before we bring it to the board. And the reason is we have to make sure that committee that's trying to say this is what we want, that is for sure what we want, because we haven't met for a long time. And it was brought up on the paper, and you had the the committees, the head of committees come up with their one streamlined situation that number 7 is what we need. But going back to what you said before too, is, and what Matt said, what do we really need for 2020? We really should look at it. Same thing with what Scott said. And I'm not trying to say we should have agreements to the board first, that that's a right move or a wrong move. But to me, I'm being on a lot of committees. If you're a subcommittee has no clue what's going on and you bring it to the main committee, I think we're in trouble that way. Because for people that are on that committee, and I'm a little bit confused on what exactly, because all the way through, Matt says this is what we need. And we should know what we need. And we all agree on it. And I know you're saying too, I'm kind of not getting the same feeling talking to you right now, what we really do. Well, again, because so much has changed. yes, back, you gotta remember, we had a hell of an economy going on, it was a different environment, so we would be totally deaf if we came back, and this, the here and now, and I told them, I'd be tone deaf. So was I wrong then? I don't think I was wrong, but I think it's incumbent on any of us as elected officials that we have to have a thumb on the pulse of our community and say, okay, we still need to jail. But knowing what we know now, in July of 2020, I'm not saying that the jail is still not a relevant and needed resource. We have to have some sensitivity to what our taxpayers are going through. So let's see what we can do to bring this, to a more realistic state. So yeah, I feel the same way. People are like, man, you changed your tune. Like, no, I'm just trying to be responsive to what's been going on in our community, in our country.
That's the only reason why I say I think we should bring it back to committee, because both people on the committee, we hash a lot of things through, a lot of good things, and it always leads in the right direction.
That you bring up a good point. I guess if you could consider that, the committee and the recommended committee was based on what they knew when they knew it. And so now to bring it back almost would somewhat take away the credibility. So what were you guys thinking? Well, that was in March. And so I think it would be good for us to convene one more time and say, wow, things have changed. Let's have another conversation. So that when we do bring it forth to the executive, to the county board, they're at least also part of that conversation. So we have what we talked about in March, we made a few changes because we all realized things have changed. Whereas if we just circumvent, they all the credibility gets somewhat eroded because now we're like, wait a second, now we're talking about this. Well, you guys, it would take away, I think, some of the credibility. That's right. I didn't think of it that way, but that brings up a great point. If we want that committee to stand shoulder to shoulder, saying, this is what we discussed, this is what we want, I think we've got to include them in the new environment. And then we can bring them in lockstep in front of your group to say, all right, now we're shoulder to shoulder, and this is what we think should come forward. And I don't want to hold up the timetable. I think we could do this easily in the next 30 days, bring them all together, have this discussion, and then bring it forward to the one board.
Yeah, the appointments could be made that quickly. So it might be 60 days.
That's my only take on
And
it.
I don't think we're on a,
If we wanted to take this referendum, when does it have to? I think we have to do it before our time.
you have to,
I think we have to submit a referendum at least 7 days before that election. There's a time now.
we wouldn't be bringing this forward in November. Oh, goodness, so we'd be looking at maybe spring, maybe or the following fifth of November.
No, I wouldn't want to go out.
But we do have to, I think, timetable to change compared to what we discussed, 4 months ago.
I think with where we're at, I think you're nowhere close at this point.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Now let's talk about staffing.
All right, we'll make this something quick. We got some great staff. We're very fortunate to have men and women that come forward to do want to serve their community. So thank you, sir. So we've got Marcus Rista, who we just hired, a former Marine, and he's doing great. He's in about his third week of training, and he's doing exceptional. We have a young lady, Haley Wolf, that we brought over, has previous experience in county jail, and so she's starting, I believe, on the 19th. So, we're looking good there. The only thing, out on the horizon then, of course, will be, upcoming retirement, and then working towards the filling of those subsequent positions. Otherwise, in staffing, we've got a couple FMLA issues. We've got a few folks that are out that will come back. But we're holding strong. We've got a great staff, and they've adjusted well to some kind of COVID-19 environment, and I think we're in a good place. So, go ahead.
No, Mark's not Gail again. She's overseas right now. She's still stationed in Texas, but she'll be leaving here shortly. But again, hopefully we'll get everybody back on the same page and our patrol division full.
Okay. LC contract.
I was trying to reach Chief Deputy. He had some conversations while I was out on a military order. So I'm gonna let Dave kind of head this one up because there was a conversation that was initiated by Rutherford County School District, and we wanted to be responsive to them, so we've got a recommendation.
Yeah, this is a large document. It's 8 pages attached to that. As I indicated at our last meeting, that they approached us indicating with COVID, is there any way we can massage the contract and see if we can find common ground and come up with a price that's usable to them and us. As of March 10th of 2020, schools were shut down. And at that point, our officers put in 44 days into the school, and after that, they haven't been back. There's been some conversations here and there with some students, but not a whole lot of conversation. So I'm talking to the superintendent, he asked to take a look at it. I talked to our finance director, I talked to the sheriff, talked to our county administrator. Again, just to remind you, this is the largest source of revenue for the sheriff's department that we have coming in every year for the last 15 plus years with LC School District. So the first page of this document, you'll see it's just a cover letter that we send out indicating that our contract's up, attaches the liaison agreement, and it goes year to year. In the fall of each year, we draft it and send it off to them. And they sign it, they send it back, the sheriff signs it, and it becomes official. The second page of it is the agreement, the next two pages. You can see what it says, Sheriff School Liaison Officer Agreement, January 20th, January 1st, 2020, and December 31st. Second page is the signatures of that document. And if you turn to the fourth page of the staple item, you'll see Exhibit 1. That's how we come up with the cost for our full-time liaison officer in the school for the 9 months. She puts in 1,440 hours for those 9 months. It comes up to $58.66, and we bill them all for that period of time at a total of $84,470. Exhibit B, the next page, is our part-time officer who's in the school for approximately 480 hours for those 9 months. And again, we charge the same amount, $58.66 for $28,000. Together, that comes to $112,627. And the next page you can see is the school liaison wage breakdown for 2020. That's how we come up with that wage per hour. We take the wage for the union contract, we take the fringe benefits, and we divide that out using mathematics. And at the end of the day, for cell phones, gas, squad maintenance, uniforms, and so forth, that's where we come up with that 58.66. This is a formula that we've been in place for a period of 10 plus years. Now, again, that's where we come up with that 58.66. So the next page, if you turn to it, you'll see where we go out for January 1st of 2020, December 31st of 2020. Those wages, it's $112,627, but we send it out semi-annually, and the next page will break that down. And I'm sorry, I won't break that down. I didn't have a page, but the last page is an invoice that we recently sent them, okay? And what we did is we took the official hours that they have, so 360 hours that they actually work, and we added 20 extra hours onto that program where they were in contact with the school, where they did a program with them. And the total hours for the full-time officer was 380 hours at that 58.66 for a total of 22,290. And then the part-time officer breaks down to 140 hours at that 58.66 for 8,200 for a grand total of 30,503. Now, generally speaking, we fill them out for that 6-month period at about $58,000. We thought this was reasonable. The finance director thought this was reasonable. Again, this is a snapshot in time. We do not want to lose this contract. It's a heck of a revenue source, and I'm looking for your approval to authorize us to build this out for $30,000 versus the $58,000.
The question I would have, they've already budgeted $112,000 for this year. So are they gonna return the balance next year? Let's face it, government is not like private enterprise. You don't spend it, private enterprise, you're able to spend something else. Government, they're guaranteed they're gonna, that $112,000 they're collecting. As a taxpayer, Oxford Castle, I would be concerned that, gee, what are you doing with that savings that the county is giving us? and just kind of ask the thing. Here's the other thing is, have we been able to utilize that officer uh, in other places? Because typically that officer is dedicated to the school. So have we utilized that officer in other places that it hasn't cost us additional?
Actually, those two officers were reassigned back to the jail division. They dispatched in jail for us. When we had our FMLA issues, we were allotted to bring out a cross-train officer to fortify the patrol division. So again, they took on the full shifts. They worked the 7 on, 7 off. So it saved us a large amount of overtime where we could bring them back into the jail to fortify the open shift. So we have them on a schedule. If they're not working in the school, they're reassigned back into.
No, I know in summertime they're reassigned back to jail. I just was wondering, how did you utilize that off from March until June?
They were part of the rotation at 7 on, 7 off.
Mm-hmm.
So they were part of that again. Our cross-train officer was reassigned out to patrol, and those officers helped us extremely a lot to maintain our staffing level.
So in general, having those deputies both back in the mix was a benefit to the sheriff's department. So I mean, the conversation of, what is Rutherford Castle going to do with, those unspent dollars, that's a conversation for them. But I think it is, to the chief deputy's point, I think it's a great gesture on our part to recognize that, yes, the services are not provided. It's still, lemonade on some lemons here that, hey, let's reintegrate it into our operation. Thereby, we could then cross-train one of those other daily dispatchers over to patrol to help offset some more time there. So, I mean, I think that we made the best of the situation, and it was a benefit. So I would hesitate to hold firm and say, no, we want our money, because again, that overarching revenue number, I don't want to, I would hate to, taint the water and have them have a bad taste in their mouth about how this will work. Yeah, we do really appreciate the relationship we built within that school district. Like to expand, as far as other school districts, and we do think that has value. So I hate to, over this amount of money, taint that relationship.
Any other discussion?
Does this fall underneath the COVID reimbursement or not? I mean, it's extra cost to the county.
I'm sure that knowing when to start, we're not sure what we're going to get yet exactly. Okay, but I would assume that any of these discounts or whatever that we've got, we're going to roll into that, take advantage.
And again, this is
By the way, that's not free money. Some place we're going to, well, we won't pay for it. Our children and grandchildren are going to.
It's $28,000. Again, I think our last meeting discussed the housing of inmates, where we budgeted $78,000, and we're at $2,000 for the year. And we're projecting out for the year that we're probably going to spend less than $10,000. Again, something like this is a huge contract we've had for many years. And I think at this point, this is a good gesture on the sheriff's department and working with the school district and saying, okay, the big picture down the road, this is a wise one.
I gotta agree. We should just build for actual costs. The services that we provide. Any other comments? All right. What is the wish of the committee?
I'm also going to send it down up $30,000, $3.
Presented. Anyone second? Doug? Second by Doug. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'm not sure, John, we still have to go to the executive committee for approval. When I talked to the county administrator and finance director, they just said to make it, a point to bring it to them for approval also.
Okay. Update on 911.
Yep, I'll make this one quick. So we do have the contract with Motorola Solutions. We are currently working through it. The lieutenant mayor is doing some amazing work, kind of being a point of contact, both with Motorola Solutions as well as the Department of Emergency Communications state level, who actually facilitated that grant. So there's a lot of accountability, a lot of reporting that has to be done. We all sat in on a workshop last week to fully understand the benchmarks, timelines. Lieutenant Mayor is doing a great job of meeting those requirements so that we can successfully not only implement next gen 911, but be successful in that grant as well. So that's a win-win for our county. And so we're just taking that step by step, but we are in the process of doing that upgrade with the assistance of that grant. So no hang up yet, everything's looking good.
Okay. Uh, Everything's been approved, paperwork's been signed. When's the equipment show?
Well, the sort of, I mean, it goes in stages, but the entire project is due to end in spring of 21. So, I mean, it's gonna be throughout this entire summer. It's a long process as far as getting the equipment in, training the staff on how to use it before we actually cut over. So this will be ongoing through these upcoming months, but we have an end date for the grant that we have to be signed, sealed, and delivered by spring of 21.
But what do you project as your cutover?
Oh, as far as the cutover, I actually think they have us cutting over in late fall. So they've got it, they've got it well ahead of the benchmark for the grant, so we've got a lot of room. But they have us due at the last quarter of this year.
Are you gonna replace the equipment in that existing space, or are you gonna put it in a different?
No, that'll all be right into that same room. That's the only place we can go with it. That's where it goes, is in our dispatch center, but it is, it is equipment that if someday we make a move somewhere, it's all for us. So it's not something that has to, like get destroyed or get thrown out of the old building. These is all components that when the time comes, we'll be transitioning to wherever we'll be in the future. So, this is all money well spent and it can be used well into the future.
Will this equipment take up less space than existing equipment?
A lot of the equipment is all the technology in the back, in the back room. So as far as your servers, a lot of it is, cloud-based, it's IP. So it's not a lot of huge servers or things like that. So we don't envision there being an issue with the space. It's probably going to be the same as, or even less than what we're currently housing now for our current equipment.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Part-time employment.
I'll start it, and I'm gonna kind of between myself and Chief Deputy work it through. So side letter, what this basically relates to, and this has been going in practice for decades, where we've had law enforcement officers work for different agencies. So we've got full-time law enforcement officers, sheriff deputies, that might work part-time for another law enforcement agency. It provides great experience for them. It assists the other departments in filling their shifts. So it's been a good relationship over the decades. But some of the things we never anticipated until even the last couple, with a lot of these officer-involved shootings, officer-involved deaths, is the extent of administrative leaves that become associated with some of these incidents. Again, in the sheriff's department, we've had 2 in the last 5 years. Before that, we never had any. So, I mean, we just have to be thinking, heaven forbid this does happen again, we just need to be able to answer questions ahead of time. So the question came up, what happens if while one of my deputies is working part-time for a law enforcement agency, gets involved in an incident that they put them on paid administrative leave, but he's only part-time with them? Where does that leave the county? Are we doing what? Are we also putting them on paid administrative leave or putting them on unpaid administrative leave? What does that look like? And so that's where this sort of conversation's been going around, and it's arrived sort of now at the union level with a side letter saying, here's how we're going to, frame this. So with that, I think I was thinking that.
Again, I'm sure if anything, we've had 2 officer-involved shootings within the recent months. And that was one of our officers for, let's say, the city of Kewaunee, Luxembourg, or Algoma. That officer would be off for a 4 to 6, 8, 12-week period. How does that look? Do we put him on administrative leave of pay? Well, this individual went into a contract with that department. He hired with them, has nothing to do with the sheriff's department, and now we're going to put him on administrative leave. Plus, we have to pay our sheriffs that on overtime to cover that individual while he's out. So I brought it to the union's attention saying, well, what does that look like? If we say, no, we're not paying on administrative leave, we'll put him on leave, plus he can take vacation, holidays, and so forth. And the union said, yeah, that's a good question, we never had that. A lot of agencies, like your county, do not allow officers to work anywhere besides full time. That's it. You're full time, you work here, that's it. We we want to burn you out, you're looking for another agency and so forth. So this is where the MOU came up with. Jeff was making draft of the language for council. We came up with this language and we've been dancing back and forth. But it gets to a point right now that we've gained nothing in this relationship. That officer has solely went on his own, sought employment outside of our agency. And we're looking to fortify this officer any way we can. So we're looking for any recommendations after, did we get this off to that?
Yes, this was included in the packet, correct?
Yeah, you look at that, I guess we're looking at, how do you feel about this? What's the language that you see in this? Should we change something? Should we not allow this practice? Again, we're looking for direction, guidance on this, because right now it's really up in the air. It affects maybe 4 to 5 officers within our department. I think 3 of them are within the union, the other 2 are non-union officers that work in the jail. But we also, like the sheriff indicated, right now hiring a part-time officer, for example, for Goma, you put hours of training into that officer, and 48 weeks of he's done training, the peer comes along and says, well, now that you're trained, we're going to take you off. Goma lost out on that individual. We put all that money into it, you got nothing in return. The part-time officers are making $15 to $20 an hour. So again, as Matt said, these officers come in from our department, they're already trained, they put the gun belt on and they can do the job right now. It saves them from training costs and so forth. But we just don't know what this is looking like, especially in today's society, with all these officer issues that are going on. If an officer does get involved with a good shooting or a bad shooting, how does the county want us to proceed with this? We have some ideas, but again, we like this committee to give us their opinion.
So, is this whole document new, or are you just highlighting the changes?
This is brand new.
Okay, what is the highlighting for?
That was just some changes that Jeff had made, because he's been through some revisions. In fact, this still isn't really the final, because we're still having a prime administrator review it as well. So this is like version 3, version 4. So he's highlighted a couple of things that he had changed. So that the highlights are just his revisions. But this is a new document that Jeff drafted. This has only been in the works, the last couple of weeks, where we've been kind of going back and forth trying to develop this language. So yeah, really the highlight stuff are just some conversations we had about small semantics, what should that state versus that. So overall, the document is what the document is.
Okay, now, I had sent an email to Jeff on this and to Scott. And I think that this is part of a larger policy on county employees that are doing other jobs. Because it's fairly common, at least in Kewaunee County, I can't speak for other counties. But I see it in Kewaunee County because even our valued employees are paid out truck drivers. Just an example, at the highway department where we have guys that are working for farmers and weekends and stuff, helping them out. And I think that we need to even take what you're presenting here as part of a policy for all of our employees. Because let's face it, if we have employees, if we have a sheriff's deputy working for a city, or we have a truck driver working for a private individual, then they get hurt in any way. Okay? And I'm not talking about offers that involve shooting or anything like that. But you get hurt. How do we handle it? Okay? And I think we need to address all of those items as part of a packet policy.
And if I may just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we thought about exactly what you're saying. So now let's say myself, I'm out lawn mowing and I'm doing it for Dave Furnace at my house. I fall off my riding lawnmower, break my hip. I'm out for 12 weeks. I have 960 hours of sick leave. I'm going to utilize that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say Matt is working for the school district of XYZ, and Matt falls off the ladder and breaks his hip. He is going to take FMLA, and he has a sick leave bank, just like any other company would. But this situation with an officer involved investigation with a death-related internal investigation is kind of different, because right now, that officer went into a situation knowing that if you become involved with an officer they went into that program understanding these are the risks you take. I know it seems very slight cutting hairs, but we want to make sure that we're doing right by our department because law enforcement is a little bit different. You know, when you shut that gun on, you might be utilizing it tonight or tomorrow or the next day. So again, these officer-involved shootings are a little bit different than, working at a winery or so forth. Does that make sense?
I guess we began to understand the requirement if this person was doing site work for another county, say, it was involved in a shooting there, and they were put on administrative leave, you are obliged to also put them on administrative leave?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we should, because let's say it's let's say everybody wasn't a good shoot, or let's say there's questions around it. Well, you would, put them right back to work carrying the weapon if this is hanging out there, right? I mean, it's perception. So we would put them on administrative leave, but we would put them on unpaid administrative leave.
Well, let's not talk about how they're gonna get paid.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying you're gonna take reciprocal action
Yeah.
just because the other department did. And that's the part I guess I wasn't clear on.
Yeah.
You're deciding and voluntarily doing that because you think it's the right policy for us.
Right.
And a big key component of it is a good or is a bad shooting. That's up to the investigator. But it's also clear to that officer that when these issues happen, you should see the devastation for the officer that's off duty, sitting at home and he hears about it. And how devastating is when you bring this group together and you talk in a forum. Officers get very emotional, and they're not even the ones that are on scene. Dispatchers need time off that took the call. So again, when you go into this situation, it's not only just to make sure you did the right thing or she did the right thing. It's also to clear their head. We have to send them to counseling. We have to do that right now because if we miss one day of getting this officer whole, we could lose this officer down the road to alcoholism and suicide, and we can't take that chance. Or he quits law enforcement completely or she does. So again, that's why this is so vital in making these decisions. And no, John, you're saying why is being strict versus off? It's a fine line, but these shootings and these investigations are so traumatic to a department and an individual. That's why we have to come up with these MOUs.
And I think there's, whether they're, have a sideline of this side or the other thing, I think there's value to it. I mean, I don't know that I would ever want to say, nobody can ever do anything other than what your primary job is. I mean, there's different things that people do. It helps them maybe do something totally different than what they're used to doing. Don't be therapeutic. So the real push to this is it helps the employee, potential employee, understand, I need to have this conversation with this other employer. Because if there's this assumption that, well, no, I work for the county, they'll cover for me no matter what. That's not the case, because if whatever you're doing, you need to make sure, if you decide, yeah, I'm gonna start a lawnmowing service on my own, great, love you. But you better make sure you take out some short-term disability insurance, you better make sure you cover yourself, because if you hurt yourself while you're doing that, the county can't be expected to just pick that all up. And so, and in this case, it prompts a conversation of the municipality. Okay, city of Algoma, city of Kewaunee, here I am, a part-time employee, how are you gonna take care of me? If something happens, are you just gonna put me on paid administrative leave at my part-time rate? Or are you gonna put me on administrative leave to make me whole for what I would have been making back to the insurance department? It prompts that conversation. We don't wanna have this conversation 2 in the morning when we're all sitting around saying, what do we do now? We have to have this conversation ahead of time. And so this kind of, again, a part of this is that it prompts that conversation. If the city says, well, no, we're just gonna pay part-time wage, well, then that potential employee, right, that one of my deputies might be, okay, why would I put my financial well-being at risk to pick up $17 an hour, right? So that's the other part of this, is this documentation, once it's out there, really kind of puts everyone on notice, have that conversation, so that those potential employers understand their liability to all this, and that the county's not just picking up all this load for people that are trying to make some money on the side. Does that make sense?
Ted, why don't you touch on that briefly? We had that event with Gale from EV, and I don't know if Stoke was aware of how that came down, but because he was off as a city Kewaunee officer.
Right. So that was one where that was mutual aid. So that's kind of a whole different animal where we do a lot of mutual aid. So let's say one of our deputies comes into the city, which happens very often, is that we back up another officer if something happens. Yes, we're gonna put them on paid administrative leave, but that's mutual aid. So that's understood. That's actually by state statute that we incur the cost of the salaries of our employees, whether they're, within our jurisdiction or mutual aided out. So in that case, Officer Gale was mutually requested out to the scene, and it happened, he had to be placed on administrative leave. The city picked up his administrative leave because he's still a city employee. They're still responsible for their personnel costs. So that was on them, but it was a struggle for, for Chief Sounds at the time. He's like, I need my guy back, and ultimately it was his decision to say, I think it's time I'm bringing my guy back. But that's a little different dynamic than if it was a part-time relationship, where all of a sudden, let's say Officer was working part-time for us, got involved in this. Would we have put him on paid administrative leave at his part-time wage? Would we have made them whole? That's a whole different conversation. But you're right, there's a lot of different dynamics, whether it's mutual aid requests, whether it's part-time employment, or whether it's, them acting in their primary capacity within their, agency. So it's just something that I think starts a conversation. And I do agree that in some cases it is similar to other, because you got people not just doing the law enforcement, it is the driver truck, whatever. Again, have that conversation, make sure your bases are covered, because I think it would be foolish to expect your primary employer to just pick up all those costs. That's not fair with the county or wherever that may be. So that's really a big part of it.
So is it official policy that if you will do that reciprocal, you will go on leave as well? Is that in the policy manual or what your agreement?
No, that really is just a matter of practice. I mean, if you think about what goes on, we don't have to get PCI involved in the investigation. That's the first thing you think. Get the officer on administrative leave. That's the protocol. You didn't do that. I think that, that's just standard protocol that you would say, yes, these are the steps you now take. And we have a policy within our department that states, this is what's going to happen, the officer this, the officer that. There's a lot of criteria, and paid administrative leave is part of that. Now, we don't have a policy stating if it's an outside agency shoot and it's our, that whole thing, not so much.
Well, my concern would be is if that's going to remain muddy and not clearly stated that this whole, who's going to pick up the cost is could be challenging in the case of someone saying, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to go. Why aren't you letting me do my job?
Right.
Because it isn't really stated anywhere. You're just saying that this is the right thing to do.
Right.
And I don't disagree with you, but why isn't that also part of the policy saying, if you get, because of an officer involved shooting, and you're put on an administrative leave in this other place that you work for, you will automatically put on that same status here.
And I think that would be part of this conversation.
Yeah, the new version does say similar to what you're saying.
Okay.
If you're involved with this, you will be put on administrative leave, without pay. It falls really on the officer. If you want to take that risk and want to work part-time for another agency, he should be asking these questions. If I'm involved with an officer involved shooting, city of Kewaunee, for example, I'm not picking on them. But are you going to cover me whole for back at my work for the county if I work for you? What does that look like? Before I sign up for this job, I don't know what you're going to pay for me. Because if I go over X amount of days, I believe it's 6 weeks, the county will not pay for your insurance. You're responsible for your own insurance and your dental care and all this, and your state retirement pension. So again, these are the things that the officers have to take into effect. Now, again,
well, that's their choice if they want to take that other job on.
Exactly.
But this clears the way for them to say, just so you know, this is where the county stands and your union. The union's the one that wanted this MOU saying, you know what, we don't want to play with this part-time stuff. We hate part-time stuff because it gets money and it muddies the water. Now again, we are all about community and trying to help out other the community about having officers from our county work for them. But again, it has to be defined. Is there a risk you're taking once you walk into the world?
To your point, Mr. Rickard, that's exactly why that's in there, because the union's the biggest thing. If we were to put on unpaid leave, first thing that happens is a grievance, right? Because you can't do that, you're punishing basically. So that's why this language is there. So the union's on board saying, yeah, this is in there in the side letter. You guys know that if you get involved in something, they're going to put you on paid administrative leave, and because of the side letter, we're not going to file a grievance. So that's kind of what it's about.
Well, I think it should be for maybe that one, but the whole county should be that way, because like you said, John, there's a lot of other people that take on other, part-time work.
I think it needs a little bit more, the language needs to be tweaked a little bit. And let's Jeff do his miracle work, whatever, and bring it back to us, so he's got to complete it tomorrow.
And we're working with the union on this.
Whatever,
obviously, he's got, according to this, he's got some word that are highlighted.
And I
I'm sure there's other questions. So,
You want to brought back to this committee or brought up to executive?
I think, let's bring it back here and then we'll schedule it for executive.
meeting after, okay?
All right. Meeting dates.
Our
Next meeting is scheduled for August 12th,
Kewaunee,
8:15
here.
Proposed is September 9th. That would be again here.
So we currently have an LEPC meeting scheduled for that same day, local emergency planning committee, on September 9th. At
Same day, same time?
Yes. In Luxembourg. So, which sheriff is a part of this one?
Playing in the background here.
That's your feedback.
Yeah, every word you say.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't go the week before because, we run on top of extension. What's that?
This is something we normally do every twice a year, but I can see about rescheduling that, what we did. Tuesday or Thursday.
I'm available.
Anybody got anything on Tuesday? The eighth?
I think we'll do it 8th, 9th, or 10th. Yeah, I mean, 9th is that one, so I mean, how we want to rearrange those meetings.
Tenth might be in a conflict with highway.
Yeah, usually highways are Thursday.
The 8th?
Let's do it at the eighth, okay?
That here also.
That'll be here also. That'll be here from now on until further notice. All right. Is that good for everybody then?
September 8th.
All right. Federal travel requests. My comments are gonna get out of here real quick, but, thank you very much for showing up, Mary.
Appreciate it.
Laid up for a while.
I saw that.
My foot on ice actually right now.
Okay.
Back to health pretty quick.
Yeah.
She's fallen around all a few
I'm
times.
getting into shoes now, so. It's real tricky.
Did fall by you riding lawnmower or she?
Yeah, no, he does that.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Matt, thank you. Dave, thank you. Tracy, thank you. I did meet all you guys. Appreciate it very much.
Last meeting, we did have this discussion about the health department, and I thought we were gonna have, Jeff and Cindy here, and is that scheduled?
That didn't work out. We did them,
Yeah, at the time.
So what we're gonna do is we'll bring it back again.
I'd like to meet. I talked to John on this.
And,
This thing is gonna go before the health department again. Before that committee. It's also gonna come here. It's not, I'm sure that the form that we saw is not going to that. I did that.
I'm thinking the same thing, seems to be more churn about that even outside the board.
Right. I was listening to the governor. I'm telling you, that is. So, okay. Any other questions?
No other questions, I
I
would
would
need
need
a
a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Bug,
And
and it is
is,
9:49. Thank you very much.
So we're meeting at the highway shop now.
Dave, I need to put your right.
I think it's here. My agenda said highway shop. We're gonna look at the.
Well, I can't get in his truck, I know that.
We're supposed to tour it, I guess.
I saw the
Huh?
email.
We're supposed to.
And it said something about young board members need to take that training.
I don't have time for that. All you guys can do.
Because I had difficulty with doing that. So it is required.
Oh, that is. I don't, you know, it's different when you walk in there.
But I will not,
Jeez.
I used to go to class for people, but I had to have a bespoke because it takes, I can reach disability work. So if I have to stand there and help out, it's justified to resign.
Okay, I'll contact you about that.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, I don't think.
Tracy, have a great week. Take care, guys.
Hey, but good.
Perfect. I had my day ice pack in my
I
day,
am.
so I just.
He had the microphone in his head all along.
I don't know if that is.
Well, it's on their property, but they can't do private work.
Well, see, on their property, they can do it.
I guess, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's not, it's their property, yeah.
So. Yeah,
I mean, I understand, it's gonna be maybe a little more, but that was just way out of line.